winners as well as the runner-ups. It takes something to get to the state championship game and something a little extra to win it. And we didn't have real competitive games except in that last one, and it was a doozy. Gaffney and Dutch Fork. What a crowd! What a crowd! Gaffney brought to Columbia. They had the whole home side and more filled up at Benedict. We'll talk more about that coming up. Of course, the Houston, and we'll talk with you about that. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. South Carolina Education Lottery, lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Tonight, making our way towards the beach for coverage of the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl North-South game. It's the week of the All-Star game, the All-Star game in South Carolina, the only one. There is no Shrine Bowl. So the top senior players who are available and want to play in the game will be in Myrtle Beach, as will we. And tonight we're making a stop in Florence with our good friends at Florence Darlington Tech, Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology. We are here with the former interim president, Big Ed Buffet. He's been replaced now. He's gone back to his normal duties. So we're here broadcasting live as we make our way to the beach. We'll be joined by the baseball coach and softball coach from here at Florence Darlington Tech. They have two excellent programs, as you know. They'll be with us a little bit later on. But we're going to catch you up on everything else that's been going on with South Carolina Clemson. We'll hear from Shane Beamer. We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney from their media sessions yesterday after getting the bowl assignments. The Gamecocks are headed up I-77 to Charlotte, and they'll be taking on North Carolina. I don't think the Gamecocks could have asked for a better situation, even though you got to play Sam Howell. I don't think you could ask for a better situation than the short ride. I think that will guarantee a good turnout of Gamecock fans. I would think that they want to get to the bowl game and see what this team can do with the practices they have coming up. 9 in Columbia and then a few up in Charlotte. And then Clemson headed to Orlando to play Iowa State, which has been made a pick'em game by Vegas. South Carolina is a 7.5-point underdog to North Carolina. So we got all of that. And, of course, Coastal Carolina heading down to Orlando to play Northern Illinois in the Cure Bowl, and that comes up next week. I mean, that comes up in a hurry. And Chris Bergen is with us tonight for a few minutes. He's got basketball duty tonight with Coastal Carolina, and he is with us live from over at the HTC Center at Coastal Carolina. Chris, it's been a wild and wacky weekend with Venables headed out of Clemson to Oklahoma, and Tony Elliott interviewing for 2 jobs, and Radakovich involved with Miami, and Miami finally hiring Cristobal from Oregon. And now talk, of course, that Robbie Caldwell may be retiring as Clemson's offensive line coach to be replaced probably by Thomas Austin. Got a lot of moving parts from over the weekend.
You know, it's funny. You talked about crazy and wacky. I think even our show tonight. So let me get this straight. I'm normally in Florence, and you come down here to the beach, but instead we flip-flopped. I might as well just stay down here. You can take over in Florence in the GED for a week. I'll just hang out here at the beach for the next couple of days and get ready for the Touchstone Energy Bowl. But you're right, Phil. I'm not sure I have seen a crazier weekend in terms of not just the games themselves, which really weren't all that exciting. Quite frankly, I think the Gaffney Dutch Fork game may have been the best football game of the weekend, period, regardless of classification, whether it's high school, college, or pro. And just for what Gaffney was able to pull off and knock off Dutch Fork is remarkable. And even in the loss, the Silver Foxes, what they've accomplished under Tom Knotts the last half decade or so, it may never be seen again in South Carolina. So they've certainly got nothing to dip their heads about. But congrats to Gaffney. That was a terrific ball game. But you talked about the Clemson scenario, and it was an odd year for the Tigers, certainly from the win-loss perspective with the injuries they dealt with, and now something we haven't seen from that program in years. And I think you can trace the stability in the coaching staff that Clemson has had, unlike any other, is part of the reason that they've been able to build that dynasty under Dabo, because he's been able to keep the same guys in the same roles year in and year out with a few exceptions. And now, Phil, he's going to have to do something he has not had to do in a long, long time. That's look for a new defensive coordinator. perhaps look for a new offensive coordinator, maybe working under a new athletics director. Who knows? Certainly a season of turmoil is probably too tough a word when you win 9 ball games, but certainly overhauling changes on the way for the Tigers that we have not seen in a decade.
No question. I haven't seen anything like this at Clemson in a while. But it's a tip of the hat to what Dabo Swinney has built there, the stability and the coaches he has brought in. But let's wait and see how things work out. You talk about the Swinney coaching tree in terms of who has left his staff to become a head coach, who have left on their own for the purpose of getting a head coaching job. And of course, it did not work out great for Chad Morris. It started off okay at SMU, but then he took the big step to Arkansas, and he flamed out there. Now he's coaching high school ball in Texas, and Jeff Scott's having his troubles in 2 years at South Florida. He hasn't won a lot of games, and I saw where he just hired a new, I think, defensive coordinator. And so, he's probably got 1 more year, maybe 2 at the most, to start showing some progress there at South Florida. So he hires good coaches, and they do a great job at Clemson. Of course, that's really not a large number of people that you judge it by. You don't want to, like, you look at Saban's coaching tree, as somebody had tweeted out today, and the number of assistant coaches off his staff over the years who are now head coaches and very successful head coaches. He's got a nice resume of that. Dabo is smaller. We'll see how it works for Venables at Oklahoma. I see no reason why he won't be successful. He'll have all the money he needs to be successful, of course, at Oklahoma. I think he's got the personality. He's obviously a very good recruiter. I understand it looks like Jeff Lebby from Ole Miss is probably going to be his offensive coordinator. So he'll have a great offensive mind over there, and they'll run a wide open. If you know what Ole Miss does, they'll run a wide open, fast-paced offense at Oklahoma, which is what they like to run out there. He's already got, if he keeps him, he's already got an outstanding quarterback in place and other key parts. So, players make great coaches is all I got to say. And, Venables is an excellent coach, but he had a great run of players on the defense at Clemson, and that helped him become a great coach. It allowed him to do things because of the talent. It allowed him to blitz and play man coverage. It allowed him to mix things up and catch offenses off guard. He'll have the same kind of talent, I'm sure, at Oklahoma. Already does. I mean, there's no reason, Chris, to think that with Brent Venables running things, Lebby coming in to run the offense, let's see who else he puts on the staff, who he retains and who he brings in. He might bring in some more people from Clemson who want promotions. He might take somebody with him from the Clemson staff maybe to be defensive coordinator. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. No reason to think he won't hit the ground running at Oklahoma and continue their winning ways.
And no, you're in a league that's already geared for offense, Phil. So all you have to do is what Brent Venables has done for a decade at Clemson, and that's play really, really solid defense. And if he can bring that into the Big 12 at least for another year and then roll into the SEC with an established defense, I think he'll be fine. I really do. And it's funny you bring up Nick Saban and how many coordinators and assistant coaches he has lost over the years. The one thing that has always been true about them that has been totally separate from every other program in the country is change is inevitable, and it's sort of the rule, not the exception. But Nick Saban has found a way to make it work because he's always had great players. And that's on the flip side. Clemson's always had great players here at least the past 8-9 years. But the one thing they've been able to keep that I've admired, as you pointed out, is the stability in the coaching staff. And I think this is going to be interesting to see how the changeover works for the Tigers. Dabo Swinney's been doing this long enough. Now he's got to see how he's going to be able to mix in a brand new set of perhaps coordinators into what they're doing. And that's something they have not had to do, and it's something Nick Saban has been used to doing every single year. But when you can run out a quarterback like Bryce Young that they had on Saturday and play as well as he did, is he now the Heisman front runner after that performance against Georgia on Saturday?
Oh, boy. Alabama, what can you say? What can you say? Alabama is just, they're still a cut above everybody else, and Saban always figures out a way. I did not see that coming, that manhandling of Georgia. I did not see the kind of offensive showing by Alabama against that defense, even losing one of their best players in Minchie, who goes down with the ACL. They always have players ready. Robinson was playing hurt. He gave him some good, yardage on the ground. But Alabama's defense showed up. I don't know that Georgia is going to win a championship with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. He just kind of kept waiting for that moment, and maybe they go back to Daniels. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Alabama's a 13.5-point favorite to beat Cincinnati. See, this is a flaw. Your top. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, Chris. I'm willing to listen. When you get to the final four teams, they should be close enough where the spread is nothing more than a couple of points or three. Yeah, it should be that tight among the top four, don't you think? When we're going to have a 13.5-point spread indicates that Vegas thinks this is going to be a slaughter between Alabama and Cincinnati. And
no, and I get that. And I think you're probably right.
Let me put it this way. If Ohio State were in there instead of Cincinnati, let's say, to play Alabama, what do you think the spread would be from Vegas? 2 points? 3 points?
I think it'd probably be 3.5. I really do. But here's the thing. When Clemson was in the playoffs and played Notre Dame and won, 30-0, what was the spread going into that? Was it close? I don't remember. But they don't always follow that script. And here's the one thing, and I want to say this because I have been awfully hard on the committee the last couple of weeks, and I am glad to admit I was wrong. They put Cincinnati in. The G5 finally got an opportunity, regardless of the spread, and there's no doubt Alabama is probably the better team. But here's the thing, Phil, we just don't know. Cincinnati may show up and be as good as those other three teams. They may show up and be the worst of the top four that we've seen since the playoffs began. But we finally get an opportunity to see it. And I think Oklahoma State bailed the committee out because had Oklahoma State beaten Baylor on Saturday and won the Big 12, I still believe they would have gotten in over Cincinnati. And I'm glad that didn't happen. I want to see what the G5 does now that they've got an opportunity. But here's the problem. If you're Cincinnati, you're carrying a lot of weight. You're carrying it for the Coastal Carolinas and the Appalachian States and the Louisianas and all those different teams of the world. Because if you go out, as you pointed out, and get embarrassed by Alabama, that would just add to the narrative that the only teams that belong in the playoffs are the teams from the Power Five.
Well, let me put it to you in a way that most people understand, since everybody understands the NCAA tournament. This is a 1 versus a 16. That's what it is. It's a 1 versus a 16. This won't be close. Alabama will cover with ease. Mark it down. It's a 1 versus a 16, Chris.
Now, a 16 has beaten a 1 now. We can't use that as the template. And I think that's a little harsh. I think it may be closer to a 1 versus an 8.
Upsets do happen. But, and I know Cincinnati gave Georgia a scare in the bowl game last year, but Georgia probably wasn't really locked in. I think my guess is Alabama will be locked in. And Alabama will bring their A game, which will be way too much for Cincinnati. Before you cut away, you got Mercer and Coastal Carolina basketball coming up. The Chanticleers, 6-2, undefeated at home. And you know what? They didn't let down after that big win over South Carolina. They've kept it going.
No, actually sitting at 4-2, but this is the midst of a 6-game homestand. It's the third game for them in 6 days, Phil. So you worry about perhaps tired legs, but Mercer's already, this will be their 10th game of the season. But you're right. Coastal came out and performed probably as well as Cliff Ellis could have asked for on Saturday in their 10-point win over Winthrop, coming off the South Carolina game. That was his biggest fear. You blow out the Gamecocks in front of a nearly packed house here. How do you handle success? And they came out and took care of their business. Rudy Williams, transfer guard from Kansas State, tossed in his first double-double in a Coastal uniform, 30 points and 10 rebounds. And over the past 2 ball games, he's nearly flawless from the field. He's a perfect 5 of 5 from three-point range. He scored 49 points in those 2 ball games, so he is obviously playing some very good basketball. On the flip side, this is a Mercer team coming off a win over Georgia State, which is usually the consensus pick to win the Sun Belt. Mercer knocked them off, and they've got a little South Carolina flair of their own. You Gamecock fans may remember the name Felipe Hasse. Well, once he left the Gamecocks, he landed in Macon, Georgia, and he's now playing for the Bears. And this is a Mercer team that's 5-4, preseason number 4 or so in the SoCon. So ought to be another really, really interesting mid-major game on a Monday night right before exams begin here at Coastal tomorrow.
Absolutely. You're right. 4-2. I can't read. Look like a 6 to me. I need to strengthen my glasses, I guess, my bifocals. Last thing, we'll let you go. Our poll question of the week. Get your quick take on this. Brent Venables gone from Clemson. Who should Dabo Swinney replace him as DC with? promote from within, hire current big name DC, hire a top lower level DC, or just coach the defense himself. 323 votes in today. 35.3% say hire a big name DC. 30.3% say promote from within. 25% say Dabo should coach the defense himself. How about that? And 9% say hire a top lower level DC. Yeah.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight.
Make yourself DC.
You want a former wide receiver who coached the wide receivers before he took over as head coach. You want him now to totally flip what is in his DNA and be the defensive coordinator. I think that would be a bad decision. Even Dabo might agree to that. Phil, I think with the attraction of Clemson and what Brent Venables and Dabo Swinney have built on that side of the football, I think they could probably go out and get whomever they want. And as Clemson has proven, if they've proven one thing, they're willing to pay top dollar for a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator. And if that's the case, go out and try and get a big name. If you don't feel like, though, you've got somebody in the pipeline who maybe can keep the things going. And also you have to factor in recruiting. If you bring somebody in from the outside, how would that affect potential recruits coming into Clemson, especially this current class, and as opposed to perhaps maybe keeping somebody and promoting within? I think, though, if you're Clemson, why not swing for the fences, go out and see if there is a top-notch defensive coordinator that you could bring in to replace Venables, because we know they'll pay for it.
Yeah. Well, Dabo would certainly say, like he said once about Chad Morris and the quote-unquote Chad Morris offense, it's not the Chad Morris offense, it's the Clemson offense. So it's not the Brent Venables defense, it's the Clemson defense is what I would assume he would say. Real quick, Pat, before the break.
Yeah, just a minute ago, you were asking about what the spread was a few years ago when Clemson beat Notre Dame 30-3. It was 10.5. Clemson opened as an 11.5-point favorite. At kickoff, it was 10.5. And so I would push back against your argument a little bit that we're not accustomed to seeing blowouts in the first round. Not to say I'm for it, but thus far there have been 14 games in the college football playoff in the 7 years that it has existed. Only 3 have been single-digit games. We're used to blowouts. 11 out of 14 have been blowouts. So I'm with you. I don't like the fact that we're seeing that, but it's not like it's anything new.
No, you're exactly right. That's an excellent point. Blowouts have become the norm in the semifinals, and that's why I say the heck with 2 games. Just play one. Go back to the old BCS, pick out the top 2 teams, let them play. This is going to be a drubbing. I'm sorry. It's going to be a drubbing, Chris. We'll let you have the final word before you go.
I hope you're wrong. I fear you might be right, but I'm glad we at least get a chance, because we won't know until Cincinnati or somebody from the group of 5 gets a chance to crack the Power 5 part. Now, again, as I pointed out earlier, they're carrying a lot of weight and a lot of pressure. They've got to go and perform. But if they lose by 2 touchdowns, is that to say they weren't worthy, or is that to say Alabama is still the best team in the country and they would have beaten anybody by 2 touchdowns in the semifinals, much the way they beat Georgia this past weekend?
As my man on the PA at the high school games said repeatedly, and I had to listen to this through 5 games, we shall see. Anybody who was at Benedict Stadium knows what I'm talking about. We shall. He would always say, 4th quarter, and one team was down by 25, 30 points. And we still have 12 minutes to go. It's anybody's game. We shall see. All right, Chris, we'll let you get to your ball game, man. Thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Look forward to it, guys. Have a great show, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow.
We shall see. I went to bed and I had that in my head all night. Let's hit a quick break here on Sports Talk, and we'll come back and update some notes. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525 is the number. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We'll have recruiting for you. Clemson has lost a major commitment today. Keon Sabb, safety out of IMG Academy, decommitted. We'll see if he comes back into the nest at some point in time. Right now, he's a decommit. Nobody decommits from Clemson and lives to talk about it. We'll be back after the break.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. You know, I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
You know, is it just me who sees the humor in this? I think it is just me. But, you know, Gamecock fans, some, I don't know how many, but some who are vocal out there, you know, they've been clamoring for changes on the Gamecock coaching staff, right? There aren't going to be any, at least through the bowl game. And that's what Shane Beamer said last night. They're solid with their staff. It's the Clemson staff that is in flux, not because anybody is getting fired. I mean, they're getting jobs. You know, Tony Elliott met with both Virginia and Duke over the weekend. You know, is he going to get one of those jobs? Anthony Poindexter is a heavy favorite of the people there, of people in Virginia, the former player. You know, Duke might be more of the possibility. I don't know that there's anybody there that they're emotionally tying themselves to. But that would be another one. And then, and of course, Radakovich leaving from the AD job possibly, and Robbie Caldwell possibly hanging it up as the offensive line coach. In the meantime, if you're Shane Beamer, you know what? You got your staff together, and you're out recruiting, and you should be, if you're going to be honest, if you're going to stick with them, that it should be the story you're telling recruits and their families. Hey, our staff is together. None of them are good enough to go get head coaching jobs right now, so we're all together and not going to make any changes. Of course, I mean, you know, after the bowl game, that could change. But my whole point of the levity there is the fact that some Gamecock fans have been clamoring for changes and they ain't getting any. And Clemson fans who wanted their staff to stay together, they're the ones who are getting changes right now. So it's funny how the world turns in college athletics. By the way, a Gamecock player has hit the portal, John, flushing him out of the USC program. Jamar Brown, safety from down in Florida, has put on Twitter that he is transferring. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk when we get to your calls. And since 2002, more than $999 million in lottery proceeds have been used to support K-12 programs in South Carolina. Learn more about the lottery's impact at scheducationlottery.com/educationwins. We're back in just a moment.
On Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. A few clouds roll in, as does a cold front. Our low dips to 46. Tomorrow, look for a mix of sun and clouds, a very slight 20% chance. Shower with a high of just 53. Wednesday is our best chance at rain, with a better than 60% chance of showers and a high of 54. By Friday, we're back at 70. By Saturday, we could see 80 degrees. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, Set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Body of Senator Bob Dole of Kansas will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Thursday as congressional leaders honor the former Republican presidential candidate and World War II hero. Dole died Sunday at the age of 98. It's a boycott, but our athletes will be there. United States will stage a diplomatic boycott of the upcoming Winter Games in China. U.S. athletes will be competing, but United States will not dispatch American dignitaries to attend the games. Strong storm packing high winds and heavy rain has flooded roads and downed power lines across parts of Hawaii. Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit has collapsed and died after a workout at Santa Anita today. The trainer says the 3-year-old apparently suffered a heart attack. This is SRN News.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Kevin Cohen here with Tim Hanberry from Medicare Blueprint. So, Tim, it is open enrollment now for Medicare. How does that impact our listeners at the point?
Well, Kevin, now's the time for you to review your Medicare Advantage plan because they can and do change each year. You'll need to make sure that your prescriptions are still covered and at what cost. So what should you do? First, give us a call. We'll ask you a few questions. We'll find out what your prescriptions are and what doctors you see. Then we'll find the best plan for you. We'll do all the work for you. We'll even make sure to show you all the additional benefits you're entitled to.
Yeah, listen, I called Tim and his team, and it's just like he says. We've cut our healthcare costs considerably. So don't waste time. Don't waste this opportunity during open enrollment. Give Tim a call at Medicare Blueprint, 803-708-7405, or find him online at MedicareBlueprint.com. That's 708-7405 or MedicareBlueprint.com.
Is that cracking your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. Is it me or does life speed by so much faster this time of year? Your calendar fills up so quickly. Then before you know it, you're scratching your head when you see Christmas decorations for sale at Lowe's. How do you stay connected? Well, thanks for asking. We have the answer. It's fondue. Come in for reconnecting time. Have 4 courses or just chocolate or just cheese. We are here for you. 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard. The Melting Pot.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
We are back on Sports Talk on this Monday after a wild and wacky weekend. We come to you tonight from Florence, Darlington Tech. We're at the Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology. We're inside what I like to call the spy room. This is operated by one Dwayne Childers, and it's not a spy room or anything like that. This is part of their business. They do a great job for businesses around around the state monitoring their social media networks. And this is a business that people can subscribe to. You can call up Dwayne or Big Ed Bethay or any of the folks here at the Southeastern Institute. And if you want somebody to keep an eye on your social media, what's floating out there about you, this is, I'm sitting here and I'm just looking at these big boards, and they're tapping into various social media accounts. And I guess they keep an eye on it and let businesses know if somebody's out there saying something not too nice about them. Now, I know that would never be the case about Sports Talk or me in particular. I know there would not be any negative words out there to be brought to my attention. Nothing but love, nothing but roses and bouquets. All right, let's go to the phones. Phone number 888-898-2525 is how you can reach us. We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney coming up. We'll hear from Shane Beamer. Little Frank Martin. The Gamecocks played a real fine game against Georgetown yesterday. Beat them soundly in Columbia. Big men. They're big. Well, you know who was in the house for that game? Of course, Patrick Ewing was on the bench for Georgetown. Dikembe Mutombo was in the house. His son Ryan Mutombo plays for Georgetown. I walked past him and I turned and looked at him. I gave him my finger wag. No, not in here, not in this house. I kid. And who else? Tracy McGrady was in the house. Some connection to Patrick Ewing there. All right, to the phones we go. And oh my, I can't believe this.
Before you even start, I got to break in for a second. We have Larry Williams out of Clemson reporting a little bit more breaking news out of Tigertown.
Okay. Tony
Elliott out of the running for the Virginia job. Duke job still very much in play, but Larry Williams, again, is of TigerIllustrated.com, is reporting that Tony Elliott is out of the running for the Virginia job. No more details at this point, but do with that what you will.
Okay. They're probably going to go with Anthony Poindexter. Tony Elliott out of the running for Virginia, according to Larry Williams. Probably going to go then with Poindexter, which seemed to be the media there. One in particular who's a close reporter on Virginia athletics really was pushing for Poindexter. Virginia pedigree and all that, well loved by the program. Saw that as a way as, continuing what they have going on there. But he's still in the running for Duke. So, we'll see what happens there. All right, to the phones we go. And it's been a great program so far. Unfortunately, we interrupt the flow by going down to Charleston, where we welcome in the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the Cowboy Crybabies, and your new defensive coordinator at Clemson. It's not Jim Rome. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Jay Rome, ready to run the 3-5-3 defense at Clemson. Hello, Jerome. What you got for the Tigers?
Hey, is that better than the 4-4-4 that they used to with the Philadelphia 76ers?
You're right. I don't think that'd work in football.
As Moses Malone
put you
would
one
say.
over the number.
Hey, just let me say this, Phil. You know, did I not try to call you last week? And I called you, and I said, be careful about Alabama, okay? Okay, be careful. You know, he loves being the underdog. He loves it. What did he say to me after the game? Thank you for the rat poison. What do you think that means? He used what they said to motivate his guy. You can't win with him, see? If you say something really good about them, he's going to scream at him like a crazy banshee in practice. Don't listen to that rat poison. And then when you say, oh, Alabama's great, he's going to use that to say, you stink. You ain't even playing that good. Whatever way you go, he's going to use that to motivate those guys. He does it all the time. Have you ever seen his practices? He's like a crazy man, okay? I saw one of his practices. I said, oh, my God, they let the Tasmanian devil loose. Because this dude is crazy, man. So, hey, I tried to warn you about him. 400. I said, hey, you're already giving this kid the Heisman. Well, I wonder who's going to win it now, huh? Huh, Phil? Who's going to win the Heisman?
I got my Heisman vote in yesterday. I always wait until after the championship games before I vote. I can't tell you who I voted for because they asked us not to.
You voted for Bryce Young. Don't give me that.
I can't acknowledge that. I'll tell you.
How can you vote for anybody else after that?
I'm just saying I can't. It goes against the rules of the Heisman Trust, and I will not violate the trust of the Heisman Trust.
Hey, just let me say two more things.
I do one nationally important thing every year. One thing I do that impacts the nation, and that's vote for the Heisman.
Root for South Carolina and vote for the Heisman. Okay. Hey, by the way, hey, hey, by the way, Tony Elliott, I'm not that impressed. Did you see Clemson's offense earlier this year? That's Tony Elliott. No wonder he hasn't gotten a job yet. Okay? No wonder he hasn't got. And by the way, that Michigan Georgia game, that's going to be a duel to the death. Okay? Georgia is wounded and angry. It's going to be a duel to the death.
What do you think is going to happen, Alabama, Cincinnati?
Hey, look. If you look, don't look past them guys. Don't look past them guys. Don't look past them, because he's going to use that. He's going to use that. You know, that motivate. They're not giving us a chance. He's going to use that for 2 weeks. So, hey, now Alabama's on the other side of the rat poison now, because Cincinnati's going to want to hear that, and that's going to motivate them. But we'll see. I still think it's going to be Alabama, and who knows? Maybe Michigan, maybe Georgia.
I think I'll roll with Michigan now. And thank you, Jerome. Good hearing from you, and good luck coordinating that Clemson defense up there. I think you're going to do a great job. Just look what you did for the Citadel down there, okay? So I think you're going to do a great job. I think that right now I'd go with Alabama, Michigan. Georgia, I'm sorry, you disappointed me. I thought you were going to handle your business against Alabama, and you did not. You did not show up. You did not show up. You did not play the defense that you've been playing all season. You allowed Alabama to push you around, and you allowed Bryce Young to do what he can do. You allow those receivers to get behind you and use their great speed too. And then offensively, you were a shell of yourself. So, and it's funny how this thing turns on a moment in a year, because a year ago, they were ready to run Jim Harbaugh out of Ann Arbor. Everybody thought he was a nut. His press conferences were zany. I'll never forget the press conference he did after South Carolina beat him in the bowl game a few years ago. And I thought to myself, this guy is really out in the stratosphere somewhere. His sentences just didn't make sense. But now they love him. They gave him a contract extension before this year, and he delivered. He delivered a great season at Michigan. They went through some quarterbacks for a little while, and they kind of got settled in there. But they played nasty defense, and they got one of the best defensive players in the country. I'm rolling with Michigan, and they are the. Let me think now. I had a tweet earlier today on the odds to win the college football playoff championship among those teams, and it is Alabama was 6-5, Georgia's 3-2, so Georgia's still the second favorite. Michigan's 13-2, and Cincinnati's 11-1. Heisman odds: Bryce Young 1-2, Kenny Pickett 14-1, and Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, the defensive player, is 14-1. Coastal Carolina's 10.5 over Northern Illinois. Clemson's a pick'em over Iowa State, and South Carolina's getting 7.5 against North Carolina. Clemson a pick'em against Iowa State. Well, you're going to get a chance to see Matt Campbell in the flesh and see what he can do as a coach. He's very highly regarded with a very good quarterback. We'll see how much Clemson cleans things up offensively from what they showed us during the season and what they look like on the defensive side. And whoever Dabo anoints as the next defensive coordinator, is he going to hire somebody who's already coordinating somewhere else in a bowl game and can't come right away, or somebody who can come right away and step right in and start working? I don't know. Don't know how that's going to work. We'll have to wait and see how all that plays out. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number is how you reach us. Back to your calls in a moment. Want to mention that you're ready to head to the beach, maybe for the holidays or for a spring vacation, or maybe you're making plans for summer. Give James Smith Realty, Jimmy Smith, a call at 843-237-4246. That's 843-237-4246, or visit Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Pawleys Island and over there in Litchfield, Garden City, down towards Georgetown and all those places in there. Beautiful, beautiful places any time of the year. Great restaurants, great golf courses. And this is a great time to be at the beach. That's why I love being down for the week of the Touchstone Energy Bowl North-South game. Just a great time to be down there. Really, any time is. They can take care of your lodging needs. You need a condo or a house, something large, something small, something to rent or something to buy. They can do it all. 843-237-4246 is the number. That's for your perfect beach getaway. Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Again, the number 843-237-4246. Let's see, a quick note here. I think I just saw a tweet where they announced the 4 finalists for the Heisman. I think I saw that. Pat, did you see that come down?
Yes. Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson, Pittsburgh's Kenny Pickett, Ohio State's C.J. Stroud, and Alabama's Bryce Young. And I will add right now, it's interesting seeing all the blue check mark talking heads across the internet are very, very upset that Alabama outside linebacker Will Anderson was not included, pointing out that he actually has significantly better stats than Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson. Just figured I'd throw that out there. So you have 3 quarterbacks and 1 defensive end.
Well, I can say I've voted for 3 of the 4. And you're right. I looked at the numbers of the 2, and they're both having a very good year. I guess the Midwest voting probably jumped in there and pushed Hutchinson into the Final Four. So it's hard to I voted for one in particular because I've seen him a few times and have been impressed with him every time I've seen him. Can't say who it is. That'd be violating the trust. I don't want to do that. It's too important not to violate the trust. So those are your 4, and of course they'll be announced. It's interesting. It's good to have a defensive player in the mix because, basically it's become nothing but a quarterback award, the Heisman. But it's good to see a defensive guy in the mix. He's not going to win it, but it's good to see him in the mix. Quickly, back to the phones, 888-898-2525. Tiger Bryan in Lancaster. Tiger Bryan, are you a candidate for Clemson's defensive coordinator's job?
No, but I have a couple of questions for y'all. Do you think that Dabo's going to go in-house with the D-line coach or Reed, Michael Reed, the secondary coach? Or he's going to go out and try to get it? I heard he was on defense. He was going with he's looking at Georgia's defense coordinator and Alabama's coordinator. He's going to go outside or? I'm not worried about the offense. Yeah. I know who'll come. If Tony Elliott leaves, I know he'll get for the offense.
Yeah. I have no way of knowing. You hear things being tossed around. People have thrown Dan Lanning's name out there. People have thrown Will Muschamp. Could you see Will Muschamp going to Clemson to be the defensive coordinator? You know what my line would be on that? If you can't beat them, you might as well join them. Boom.
Well, I'll tell you what now. Hey, he's a good defense coordinator. He's done made a bunch of money, and Clemson paid him a couple $1 million a year. He'd be crazy. What about the Miami guy?
Diaz. Diaz.
Well,
Diaz.
I think that's good.
You wonder. He's known for his defensive prowess. You wonder how damaged he is by everything that happened at Miami. And I heard some things. The Miami situation looked like complete chaos, and like they were doing him a terrible disservice the way they handled it, and probably so. But then again, people point out Diaz did the same thing to Temple. He went to Temple for 3 weeks, then turned around and left and went to Miami. So what goes around comes around, and again, the people at Miami, if they get who they wanted, and they got who they wanted, no matter what the cost. And they get the AD who they want, I guess, is Radakovich, they're going to come out smelling like a rose. And they built an on-campus facility. They're talking about building a 50,000-seat on-campus facility at the on the site where Coral Gables High School is now. I don't know where the high school's going. Maybe they're going to knock it down. They're talking about investing billions. Well, a lot of millions, maybe not billions, but a lot of millions into that program and revising it. And, they can make a living on South Florida recruiting. They don't have to travel outside of a couple of counties there to get top flight talent. So the right guy can certainly make it happen there. And of course, they've got all the booster money for NIL inducements and things like that to get whoever they want. So,
Well, I appreciate what all y'all do, my brother.
Thank you, my man. Good luck coordinating. What would be your defensive scheme? What scheme would you run at Clemson?
I'd run a 4-3-3.
4-3-3. Wait a minute. You're one short. You need one more.
Well, I'm gonna have I do a 4-3-4 then.
A 4-3-3-1.
I like the 4-man like. But hey, you know what? Venables he was a great coach for us. But you know what? He couldn't have done it without the players Clemson has on defense over these last 10 years he's been here.
All about the players.
It's all about the players now. You have to give them credit now. These coaches make all that money. But hey, if they ain't got good players, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken whatever.
You got it.
But I appreciate all y'all do. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. Hartsville native running back Tion Evans, who is transferring out of Tennessee, is going to Louisville. So he goes from the SEC to the ACC. Let's hit the break here on Sports Talk. We'll come back with more of your phone calls. And he wants a job. He would take the job. I nominate Ellis Johnson to be the defensive coordinator at Clemson. Done it before. Still knows the game better than anybody. Would recruit. Of course, I'm, tongue-in-cheek, but I still nominate him for what it's worth. Hit a break. Back in a moment.
All South Carolinians aged 5 years and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com and make plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation.
Hunter Helms in at quarterback, drops straight back in the end zone, fires deep. He's got a receiver off the seam. 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown for Omarion Dollison.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com.
All right, back on Sports Talk. Couple of quick notes, and we'll hit more of your phone calls. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. Want to hit a couple of notes here real quick. And what I want to tell you is, let's get over here for this. Former Clemson corner, now at Georgia, Darion Kendrick, going to play in the Senior Bowl. And Boston College quarterback Phil Jurkovich. Don't want to say Jerkovich. I think it's Jurkovich. Coming back. That's good for Boston College. Going to come back for another year. Some changes on the roster for the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl. Michael Kennedy of Southside Christian is out. Malik Pickens of Belton Honeypath is in. Angus Fisher of Powdersville is out. Hagen Smith of Clover is in. Randy Caldwell, linebacker from Malden, is out. J.D. Lawson of Spartanburg is in. By the way, I was at all the games over the weekend. That 5A game was spectacular. Antonio Williams for Dutch Fork. Back in the day, I would say he's worth cheating for. But, you don't have to cheat anymore. You just have to say, we can get you all this NIL money. Well, you can't really supposedly use that in recruiting, but you can wink it. And it's not cheating. So it's really not cheating. But I'm saying that guy he reminds me, the people at Dutch Fork who were up in the press box keeping stats say they compare him to Debo Samuel, the way he accelerates and runs through people. He reminded me of Sammy Watkins. When Sammy Watkins at Clemson, remember how he would take those short passes and just accelerate, just 0 to 60. That's how this guy is. Man, if South Carolina gets him or Clemson gets him, whoever gets him is getting somebody special. And, if I'm recruiting him, who cares? I do whatever it takes. Want a car? I get you a car. $1,000, $10,000? I get you $10,000. That's the world of the recruiting these days. There's no limitations. Do what it takes. Stephen in Lexington, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well, buddy. It's good to see you get down in the gutter with the rest of them.
Absolutely.
I hope you made a fortune this weekend. You remember I called and told you to get a second mortgage and bet the house on Alabama.
You
Didn't
did.
need any points. That SEC would make sure they were going to get two teams in.
They did.
And much like the WWE, we know how this story is going to end. So I hope you made a lot of money.
Much like the WWE, this is all pre-planned, huh?
Yep. Well, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think Alabama, after barely beating Auburn the week before, comes out and just puts the smack down on Georgia, even with backup running backs and missing wide receivers. We'll see the real Georgia next in the next game, I think.
Oh, you think they bounce back?
Oh yeah, I think they'll take care of Michigan. Michigan hadn't seen elite speed like the Southeast has.
Who's going to be Georgia's quarterback?
It's not going to matter against Michigan because they're both going to just run the ball. But who knows if Alabama can beat them again in the national? But I think they'll take care of Michigan.
Okay. Thank you for your phone call. As always, we appreciate it. Very quickly before the top of the hour break, let's go to Triple T, Trash Talking Tiger in Columbia. Welcome in, Triple T. How are you? I hope you're doing fine, sir.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Tell all my Clemson fans, be careful what you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it was bitching and moaning about losing 3 ball games. Don't be surprised if they lose 4 or 5 next year.
Why are you so down on that? Why you feel like
I'm
that's
not
going to
down.
happen?
I'm not down. Since the season start, we've lost 8 players, and you're probably going to lose some more. What I'm saying is, like I said, something ain't right in Denmark. So it's happening. Players getting out of this. I'm saying is,
Mm-hmm.
you should put the best player on the field at all times. I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
And the one that single out, all of a sudden, LD was a problem. He's been there for 4 years. He never been a problem when Tony Elliott was the running back coach. I'm saying is.
Yeah. All right, got to hit a break. We have taken your words of wisdom under advisement. Thank you for calling. Top of the hour. We'll be back.
Someone will be right with you. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Pennsylvania awards funds to redevelop Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue.
The state of Pennsylvania has awarded $6.6 million for the redevelopment of Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue. It's where a gunman killed 11 people in 2018 in the nation's deadliest attack on Jews. The defendant in the synagogue massacre awaits trial. Prosecutors are seeking a death sentence for 48-year-old Robert Bowers, who has pleaded not guilty. The governor's administration says the funding will help transform the site of the worst anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history into a new place of hope, remembrance, and education. I'm Walter Ratliff.
The United States will stage a diplomatic boycott of the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing to protest Chinese human rights abuses.
President Biden has decided not to attend or send any U.S. government officials to the 2022 Winter Games.
U.S. diplomatic or official representation would treat these games as business as usual.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the U.S. can't do that given an ongoing genocide and other human rights abuses in China. But she says American athletes will still compete.
We'll be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home.
Greg Clugston, Washington.
The elite Russian state hackers behind last year's massive SolarWinds cyber espionage campaign hardly eased up this year, managing plenty of infiltrations of U.S. and allied government agencies and foreign policy think tanks with consummate craft and stealth. So says the leading cybersecurity firm Mandiant, a year after it discovered the SolarWinds campaign. Taking a look at the Wall Street numbers, the Dow up by 646 points, the Nasdaq rose by 139, the S&P 500 advancing 53, oil up 369 to 69.95 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For a free quote, call 800-523-3771. That's 800-523-3771. 800-523-3771. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It was 80 years ago Tuesday that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,300 American troops and launching the U.S. into World War II. Correspondent Rita Foley has more on the story.
As the Japanese bombs started falling, U.S. Navy Seaman First Class David Russell ran below deck on the USS Oklahoma. They started closing the hatch, he said, and he made a decision that likely saved his life. I decided to get out of there, he said. Once he got to the main deck, he jumped over burning seas to a nearby ship.
Big leap, and I caught a hold of a line that was hanging over the side of the Maryland, and I hoisted myself aboard the Maryland.
Within minutes, his battleship would capsize under a barrage of torpedoes. 429 sailors and Marines from the Oklahoma would die. I'm Rita Foley.
Most of the greatest generation have passed on. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
Are you worn out from wall-to-wall political talk? Instead of hearing more about the stuff in Washington that's mostly out of your control, I'll give you the tools to actually take control of your money and your life. Dave Ramsey here. Join me right here on The Point. I'm live and taking your calls weekdays at 2 p.m. I'll teach you how to get on a written plan that actually works, get out of debt, and build wealth. Weekdays at 2 p.m. The Dave Ramsey Show at 100.7 The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Oh, residual.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm live. Thank you, Pat. I'm sorry. I was having a side conversation with the folks here at Florence Darlington Tech. We are here at Florence Darlington Tech. We're inside the Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology. We've been here many times. Place is spectacular. I'm always amazed about what they have here and what they produce here. Incredible. If you ever get a chance, stop by. This campus is amazing. Right off of Highway 52, right off the intersection with I-95. And come on over and ask for Big Ed. He'll give you a tour. That's kind of all he's good for now, is just giving tours, right? Now that he's retired as interim president, he just can take you around and show you the highlights of the place. This is a tremendous operation here, the Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology. And the things that they make here, you wouldn't realize it, but they make some unbelievable products, and especially in the NASCAR world as well. They do a lot of great things there. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Got a couple of guests here we're going to talk to in just a couple of minutes, but got folks holding on the phone lines, and I want to get to them. So let's go to Raymond in Barnwell. Next up with us here on Sports Talk. Raymond, welcome in. How are you?
Fine, Phil. How you doing?
We're good, thank you.
Good. I just want to say congratulations to Vince Venables. And I know he'll do a fine job, but he can't take his get-back coach with him now because he's solid arms. But let me tell you,
he'll probably find one out there. He'll find one out there.
Yeah, well, let me tell you who I think will be a good fit at Clemson. Defensive coordinator would be John Gruden.
John Gruden. Okay.
Yeah, and he, you know, years ago, I watched ESPN show one time, and they asked him what would be his dream job if he was ever coach, come back to college to coach. And he said that Clemson University was always his dream job. He loved to wear the orange jacket. So I think that John Gruden would be a great fit at Clemson.
Well, okay, I think I don't know if you go from being the head coach in the NFL to defensive coordinator at Clemson, plus, of course, the circumstances that led to his departure from the Raiders might be a problem. But it'd be a great name, no doubt about it. It'd be a great name for Clemson to, and he and Sweeney are buddies. They are friends.
It'd be lights out. It'd be lights out, baby. It'd be lights out.
That's a name. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. 888-898-2525. Let's go next to Ronnie in Lexington. Hello, Ronnie. And Pat says Gruden has never once coached defense.
Yeah,
he's always been an
wanted
offensive guy, hasn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I understood the caller correctly. Was he saying defensive coordinator or offensive?
No, he was saying defense.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Going back, Gruden's been coaching since 1986, and he's never once had a job on defense. He's been offense for, 40 years now? So 35 years?
Yeah, I've always thought of him as an offensive guy, too. All right, let's get back to the phone calls. We go to, where was I? Ronnie in Lexington. Ronnie, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Phil?
Good. Good to have you with us.
What do you guys think about promoting Bates and Reed as co-defensive coordinator and bringing in Ellis Johnson to coach the linebackers? And I'll take the call and listen.
I just, personally, I'd love to see Ellis get a crack at it. I'm sure he would love to have that opportunity. I don't know. I hate to bring up the age factor, even though he's probably a lot younger acting than, people 70 years old, et cetera, et cetera. Just don't know that is the direction you want to go in. And you also have to wait and see if either one of those cats don't go with Venables out to Oklahoma, who you're going to have available on your staff to possibly to promote. I think in today's world, unfortunately, you have to grow younger. You can't grow older in college football. The recruiting aspect of it overwhelms everything else. And, let's face it, the older you get, the less get up and go you got. That's just the nature of the beast there. So, I mean, I'd love to see Ellis get a job somewhere where he can get on the field and share his knowledge with people in some kind of role. I just don't know that is something that Dabo Swinney would look at. All right, we appreciate the phone call. I'm sure Ellis appreciates being mentioned, though. Let's go to Keith in Camden. Keith, welcome to Sports Talk. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil, Pat, Chris. Hope y'all doing great as well.
Yes, sir.
Boy, I'd love to see Ellis back in Columbia. Great coach, no matter, regardless of his age. He'd be a great addition for anybody. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, for the previous caller, they need to go ahead and get Muschamp. Yeah, that'd be great. My question is, when you get to recruiting, what have you seen, heard, or know from the standpoint of quarterback possibly coming out of the transfer portal? So I'll hang up.
This would be for the Gamecocks.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
Yeah, I just have to be sure. I have to be sure. You know.
Well, if I recommended Muschamp to be defensive coordinator, I mean they got Scott, so go ahead and take him. He probably would do a decent job as long as he can't control everything else, so he'll be okay.
Well, I mean, listen. Thank you. Nobody is gonna, sell Muschamp short as a defensive coordinator. I mean, he's well respected. And I think he's had a big role in what they did on the defensive side at Georgia this year. I think he's probably added a lot to it. He might be sitting back waiting to see if Dan Lanning leaves Georgia for a job somewhere. Right now, I don't know where, from a head coaching standpoint, what's left. Duke, he's not involved with Duke. Virginia looks like it's getting filled up. LSU's gone. Southern Cal's gone. Oklahoma's gone. Colorado State is open. Mike Bobo would tell him not to take that. What else is open out there that's significant? I think that's, off the top of my head, that's pretty much it. So I don't know, if Dan Lanning, if he wants to make a lateral move maybe make some more money, but make a lateral move as a defensive coordinator, that would open it up for Muschamp to move up at Georgia. But I'm not so sure that he wants to do something like that. I would think that if he's going to make a move, it would be to a head coaching job is what I would think. As far as the South Carolina in the portal, John, looking for quarterbacks. Well, certainly, first and foremost, you got Spencer Rattler's name being bandied about as a possibility. Is that going to come to fruition? The tight end just visited, but now that Venables is at Oklahoma, he might convince the tight end to stay put at Oklahoma. Just because you put your name in the transfer portal, John, you don't have to leave. You can take your name out and stay. You don't have to do that. And then there was the quarterback from Ohio State, kid from Arizona who went to Ohio State, who looked at South Carolina previously. He's in there, but I don't know that his name was, I saw it, way back when he put his name in there. I saw South Carolina mentioned with him, but I have no evidence that there's anything going on with that. Rattler would be the most logical one because of his past history with Beamer, having known each other while they were at Oklahoma. So, but I don't know of any movement that's taking place at this particular time. I haven't heard really any other quarterbacks to mention. Oregon's open. I just got a text from a listener. Oregon is open as well. Of course it is. Oregon is open. Miami is open. And boy, I tell you what, well, we just talked about that earlier. What a crazy situation that was at Oregon over the weekend. Somebody put on our Twitter taking a shot at Venables because he was recruiting through the weekend. And then, of course, got the job Sunday with Oklahoma. And somebody said, well, isn't this dishonest? Isn't this, being unfair? And really, I mean, he's still employed by Clemson. He hadn't taken the Oklahoma job. Obviously, his people had been talking behind the scenes. He knew it was a possibility, but he didn't know he was going to be the head coach at Oklahoma. You can't stop doing what you're doing for your current school when you don't know that you're taking another job for sure, because I'm sure Oklahoma was talking to other candidates that they were interested in, and their people were talking to his people, and it finally came together on Sunday. And I got to give props to David Hood up at TigerNet. If you were following him on Sunday, he was all over the place in the upstate tracking the Oklahoma plane, physically going to first the Anderson airport, then by looking at his app, discovering the plane had changed and was going to land at Greenville-Spartanburg. That's a pretty good haul from Anderson to Greenville-Spartanburg airport. That's about 45 miles or so. So he went there, he met the plane, had a picture, put that up, then followed the car, found the car on I-85 that they were traveling in, followed it to Venables Lake House on Lake Hartwell, was there and got a picture of the Oklahoma people as they got out of their car, waited for hours, and then followed them. The plane left Greenville-Spartanburg, went to Anderson Airport, the Oklahoma jet. He went there, and that's where he met them, and he saw the Oklahoma people get on the plane. And then after about 15 minutes of waiting with the plane door open and the plane engines cranking up, here comes the Venables family all together in their car. And they hop on the plane. And, of course, he had pictures, and off they went to Oklahoma, which raises the other question, too. Tyler Venables still has – is it Tyler or Jake? Which one still has time left? Tyler. You wonder if he's going to transfer to Oklahoma and play for his dad. You know, that'd be a loss for Clemson because he was getting some playing time for them. So, anyway, that was a great job by all those folks up there. Larry Williams, of course, was on top of everything, moving with 3 stories. He was working that story, and Tony Elliott and Dan Radakovich, but David Hood was like physically right there everywhere the Oklahoma people were. All right, we're going to take a break here on Sports Talk. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of really good programs here at Florence Darlington Tech. The baseball team that went to the College World Series, the Junior College World Series this past season, and the softball team, which has been there before and nearly made it back to the World Series this past season. We got that coming up after the break, and we'll also hear comments from Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer about their bowl games coming up. We'll be back after the break.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make your plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation. Past winners include Stephen Gilmore, Marcus Lattimore, Jadavian Clowney, and Luke Doty.
It's definitely an honor, to be recognized as one of the best players in South Carolina. These guys are definitely deserving of the award as well. So it really is just an honor, to be named Mr. Football.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsibly.sc.com.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk on this crazy Monday, the Monday after a wild weekend in sports, but a fun weekend in sports. I mean, it was dizzying following everything, trying to follow everything. You had all the coaching stuff going on. You had the bowl stuff going on. You had the NFL going on. A lot of stuff happening on Sunday. We are here at Florence Darlington Tech, which, of course, is home to two outstanding programs, baseball and softball. We've got baseball coach Preston McDonald with us and softball coach Heber Watson with us. Both of these men have had tremendous success. Preston, you went to the World Series last summer, and Heber, you've been there before and have come close again the last few years.
Right.
Preston, how was your fall practice and putting this team together for 22?
Yeah, had a challenging schedule. We played against 6 different Division I schools, so that obviously can turn these freshmen into some tough competitors as you get into the spring season playing against other junior colleges. So I think we're really excited about the top end of our pitching staff. Got Mississippi State commit, who was the region pitcher of the year last year, and a North Carolina commit. So and then we've got 2 returning starting hitters from last year. So I think we got a good core. Just got to continue to develop these guys, get them some experience, and hopefully we can have another competitive season this spring.
Yeah, it was a great group last year. I mean, you had several guys signing with major colleges. I think some went right to the professional ranks after the season. Hard to replace that level of talent, but it sounds like you've got a pretty good base there that you're working with.
Yeah, I think pitching staff, I think we'll have some depth. And, the big loss last year was Hunter Parks, who went in the 8th round to the Reds, South Carolina commitment. But we feel like the pitching staff, will keep us in games. We averaged 10 runs a game last year, so that's going to be tough to replace. A lot of those guys lost 7 starters and got some guys that we have some good pieces. Just got to put it together this spring. Looking forward to seeing what some of these freshmen can do.
Heber, how about your fall and how things went in getting your team together for the spring?
We had a challenging fall. We had a couple of injuries that happened, which were both pitchers that we had. One had a broken finger, the other one tore ACL. So we're down in pitching a little bit this year, but we play up in the fall. We play Division II and Division I teams, so that really prepares us for the level of competition we have in our region. But it looks like we're going to be okay. We've got 3 returning starters that were all region players that were local girls here in Darlington, Florence area. One out of North Carolina. She's been with us actually 4 years. She's double majoring. She didn't want to leave Tech. She wanted to play here all 4 years. With COVID, actually they've got a couple of years. But she's coming back. She's Courtney Watson. She's a very good changeup pitcher. Been well for us. So I would hope we would do as well as we did last year. We were last year kind of slow because we had COVID on the team twice, and we had rained outs 2 weekends. So we actually were off a whole month last spring. Took us a while to get started.
Sure, hard to get that back once you lose it. Is your team more of a pitching dominated team, or do you hit the ball well?
I would say our hitting, our pitching. We haven't been able to sign the big stud pitcher over the last several years. So what we've gone with is changeup mostly, changeup pitching. Just keep mixing the speeds up against your opponent, and that's really worked for us. But our hitting normally is up above 350. Last year it was down, but I would suspect with what we brought in this year, we should get back into that 350 area.
How are you with some of your players moving on to Division I colleges, getting scholarships? Are you seeing a number of those move on?
Normally with the girls, there's 1 or 2 a year that actually want to move, and any of them that want to go have gone and played. We've got one wanting to go in North Carolina to a D3 school, and we've got one that actually is signed going with next year going to USC Aiken.
But you I mean, is it normal or abnormal to keep them for 3 or 4 years? Is that a regular practice?
No, normally it's 2 years.
Yeah.
But with COVID, it's actually confused it a little bit.
Everybody.
Yeah. We've been able to hold on to the players that really didn't want to go to a 4-year school at this point in time.
Preston, as far as your team in the spring, the kind of schedule you put together, pretty much the norm, or because of where you are at the level you are, have you scheduled up in some ways?
Yeah, we've got a pretty challenging schedule this spring. We're going to go to Panama City first weekend in February. There's a brand new tournament there.
Take me.
Yeah, they've invited 16 of the top teams from around the country to come. I think about half the teams from the World Series last year will be there. So that's going to be a very highly scouted event. Then we'll go back down to Florida again 2 weeks later to Palatka and play in a really good tournament there. And we've got some really good teams coming from out of state to our place, the rest of the spring. So I think we'll be well prepared for region play once we get to that point by playing such a tough schedule.
Yeah, what's your region going to look like?
Well, Spartanburg Methodist is always a tough challenge. They're well coached. USC Sumter also, really good program. I thought Lewisburg had the best team in the region last year. So I think those three will definitely be a tough challenge for us, and hopefully we'll play some good baseball.
Yeah, Heber, how about you? With your schedule, pretty much the norm, or anything different for the coming spring?
We have gone to Florida and played in the big tournament down there. It's a JUCO Classic kickoff. We've done that a couple of years, but it's kind of this. It can either help you or hurt you. If you're competitive, good. If you're not competitive, then you've got to get back on board and get things going when you get home. Mm-hmm. But this year, we've elected not to go to Florida. We're going to be playing as many D2 and D3 schools in early February. That's our approach.
When you say
year.
D2, D3, you're talking about 4-year schools.
Right, 4-year schools.
Playing up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're playing Methodist University here that's close by North Carolina. We're playing Belmont Abbey, their D2 program out of I guess, Charlotte area.
Yeah.
So we try to load up with any of the 4-year schools that will play us in the early spring to get ready for our region games in late February, early March.
Do you have trouble finding those schools who say, maybe not?
We do, but some of the schools are approaching JUCOs differently now, where they're looking for the players, JUCO players, so they want to play you to see what you have, and they watch what you do the year before, and if you finish well, then you've got some talent. They want to see it.
Yeah. Same with you, Preston. Do you find that to be the case with some of the D2s, D3s that you might play, that they want to scout you while they're playing you?
Yeah, we really haven't played a whole lot of Division II schools here lately, except for maybe the JVs in the springtime. But in the fall, we've really played a lot of Division I schools, and then played on a lot of Division I campuses against other junior colleges. That's kind of the big thing for us. Every player's got aspirations of playing at a Division I school, so we try to get out there and get on as many of those campuses as possible so they can see our guys.
Where'd you get to in the fall?
Oh man, we played. We played College of Charleston, Charleston Southern, Presbyterian, Gardner Webb, Charlotte, and North Carolina A&T. And then we played at Campbell, at South Carolina, and at Coastal. So
that's great.
Yeah, it was really really good for the players to have a chance to get on those campuses and allowed our coaching staff to see our guys.
We thank both of you for coming by and hanging in there with us. We had to get through our football stuff first. It is the Monday after a crazy football weekend. Thank you so much, and good luck this spring. We'll be, of course, always keeping an eye on what you're doing. We talk about you guys quite a bit, so and the other JUCOs around the state during the baseball season. Thank you so much for coming over.
We appreciate you having us.
And the softball season as well. All right, Heber Watson and Preston McDonald from here at Florence Darlington Tech, and we'll be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. A few clouds roll in, as does a cold front. Our low dips to 46 tomorrow. Look for a mix of sun and clouds, a very slight 20% chance. A shower with a high of just 53. Wednesday is our best chance at rain with a better than 60% chance of showers and a high of 54. By Friday, we're back at 70. By Saturday, we could see 80 degrees. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Right now, we all might feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone with smaller social circles, feelings of loneliness and isolation can feel overwhelming. But there's something we can all do to help. Connect with your older loved one virtually and have the conversation of a lifetime with StoryCorps Connect. Anyone can conduct an interview, and every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history. Connect, honor, share at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. California Republican Congressman Devin Nunes is leaving the House at the end of this year to lead former President Donald Trump's efforts to launch a social media platform intended to rival Twitter. A statement Monday from the Trump Media and Technology Group says Nunes will serve as chief executive officer beginning in January 2022. Twitter blocked Trump's account in January following the deadly storming of the U.S. Capitol. The former president says in a statement that Nunes, quote, understands that we must stop the liberal media and big tech from destroying the freedoms that made America great, unquote. On Wall Street, the Dow by 646 points. The Nasdaq rose 139. The S&P 500 advanced 53. Oil up to $69.95 a barrel. This is SRN News.
I'm home. Why is it so cold in here?
I've got bad news.
What?
Our heat is out.
You're kidding me.
No, but there's a bright side. Our contractor says Dominion Energy offers rebates up to $500 if we upgrade to Energy Star qualified equipment.
That's nice, but almost sounds too good to be true.
No, I checked it out. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by True Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street downtown.
Deer season is here and we all want to be successful, but our safety should come first.
A simple way to stay safe is to wear Blaze Orange as you walk to and from your stand.
Probably the best way to stay safe is to wear a safety harness.
Put it on, hook it up to a lifeline, and let the tree keep you safe from a fall during your hunt.
Lastly, always use your binoculars and not your rifle scope to look at and identify things while you're deer hunting. Woods and Water, South Carolina, your host Roger and Taylor Metz want you to be around to enjoy many deer seasons to come.
Just remember, the accident you might prevent, the life you might save, just might be your own.
Hey, Tiger fans, 2022 Clemson baseball season tickets are currently on sale. Coach Monty Lee and your Clemson Tiger baseball team open the season on February 18th, and you can be there for every game by purchasing your season tickets. Home series include matchups against Miami, Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, as well as our annual home games against South Carolina and Georgia and many more. So log on to ClemsonTigers.com to purchase your Clemson baseball tickets and come back home to Clemson.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Okay, we're back. Thanks to the coaches for being with us. Big Ed wanted me to remind everybody that they have beautiful baseball and softball facilities here at Florence Darlington Tech. Second to none. Beautiful. They are. I've seen them, and I know that they do a great job hosting events. They hosted that regional tournament here last summer, had huge crowds. So, yes, they got a great thing going here, baseball and softball at Florence Darlington Tech. All right. Want to let you hear what Shane Beamer had to say. I want to let you hear what Shane Beamer had to say following the announcement that South Carolina would be taking on North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte later on this month. And there's also the Duke's people are offering $10,000. So they want the winning coach to be doused in mayonnaise instead of having Gatorade thrown on them. They want the Gatorade bucket filled up with mayonnaise and thrown on them. So anyway, here is Shane Beamer from his press conference last night following the announcement of the bowl trip and their plans moving forward and getting ready for that. And then we'll hear from Dabo Swinney coming up as well. Shane Beamer after the bowl announcement last night.
First of all, excited for the bowl game. I think a lot of the people in Charlotte and have heard amazing things about this trip. I've never been myself, but was just in Charlotte on Friday night for an event with my dad and the Atlantic Coast Conference where he was being honored. You know, there was a lot of energy about Gamecock football in Charlotte on Friday night when I was up there and a lot of excitement about the possibility of us being there. So now that it's a reality, we're really excited about the opportunity to go and to compete against a great team like the University of North Carolina and a great coach like Mac Brown. You know, just add it to the number of coaches that, you know, we've played this year that have either played for or won a national championship. You know, Jimbo Fisher a few weeks ago, Dabo Swinney last week, Kirby played for our coach and won at Georgia. And Matt Brown is obviously a legend in this profession. He went into the College Football Hall of Fame the same year that my dad did. So we spent some time together in New York City, whenever that was, 2017, 18, I believe, when they both went into the Hall of Fame. So it'll somebody that I have a lot of respect for and looking forward to getting up there and the bowl prep. And it'll be a great opportunity for us to go play in Charlotte. I know it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic environment, two proud fan bases. And I hope our fan base is excited about the opportunity to go to a bowl game for the first time since 2018. For the first time since 2018. I know we were very attractive to a lot of bowl games based on my conversations with Coach Tanner over the last week. And Dr. Pastides, we were attractive to a lot of bowl games because of the excitement and the energy about this program right now, because of the way that our fans will travel. Bowl games know that. So we appreciate them because that went a long way, I know, for us being selected to go to Charlotte and looking forward to getting up there. Proud of our team. You know, I was just talking to them about it at our awards dinner. It was literally 1 year ago tonight. A lot of you guys were in Lexington, Kentucky, watching Carolina play Kentucky, and news broke at the end of that game, I believe, that I was going to be the next head football coach here. And it was during that game that Coach Tanner called me and asked me, I never forget it. He said, "Are you ready to do this?" And I told him, I've been waiting to hear you say that for a long, long time. And to think about coming into this facility that very next day and talking to the team down in the indoor facility, and for it to be literally 1 year ago today that I got offered the job. And here we are, we're bowl eligible in year one, 6 wins with the opportunity to get 7, 5 come from behind wins this season, wins over Auburn and Florida. It's been, you know, not the end goal because we have higher goals and 6 wins in bowl eligibility, but it's a heck of a start for this program in year one. And I couldn't be more excited about the future. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions you guys have.
Shane, have you talked with any players yet about, opt-outs, guys who might be planning to stay out or anybody that might have gotten a new injury and won't be able to play?
Yeah, nothing final yet, David. I met with some of those guys last Sunday after the Clemson game. I met with some of those guys that afternoon, and I had 8 to 10 meetings with some guys this past Wednesday when in between recruiting trips, just guys that, seniors that have another year because they're not a super senior, guys that have NFL decisions to make based on my conversations last week, nobody had made any, final decisions in regards to leaving. Some guys that have opportunities to leave that have told me that they're staying, which I'm excited about. And I told those guys, let's just get through the first week, which is last week. Let's get through exams, and then we'll circle back here, in a couple of weeks when it's not as fresh off the Clemson game. So nothing to report right now, but certainly trying to help a lot of these guys along in the decision-making process.
Shane, we hear all the time, get those 15 extra practices. It's going to be so beneficial, this, and that. How much is that beneficial in terms of looking for the future, and what advantages does that have outside of, all right, it's 15 extra practices?
Yeah. A lot. It's 15 extra practices. So in a lot of ways, it's almost like an extra spring practice in a lot of ways. I believe just, on the plane going down to Miami this afternoon or this morning, just kind of jotting it out. I mean, I believe we're going to get nine practices in Columbia alone before we even get to Charlotte, so we'll be heavy into all North Carolina prep by that point. But we got the opportunity to have 9 practices just here in Columbia before we go up there. And it's really beneficial. I mean, we got a lot of young players that just need reps to continue to get better as a football player, whether it be a guy that is a young guy that played meaningful snaps this year, like a Juju McDowell, or whether it's a older guy, or a younger guy that didn't play, but we have high hopes for, TJ Sanders, just to be able to get those guys some extra work and develop them and be able to spend some extra time with them. It's huge. And then just to continuing to develop the team. I mean, there's not a lot of guys. If you look at the super seniors that we had, we didn't have a ton. And if you look at the seniors, some of them certainly won't come back, but the bulk of that senior class, I think, is going to come back. And it's just an opportunity to get these young guys better, but then also let's continue to build these other guys, because the bulk of the team that's going to be out there practicing in December, the bulk of that team is going to be back next year, especially offensively, I think. And then just we've got some great players leaving out of here up front on defense, and it's an opportunity to get some of these younger guys and bring them along. Boogie Huntley, Tonka Hemingway, a lot of these young D linemen that we have, and defensive ends with the group that we have there that are older guys. So it's really beneficial for a lot of reasons. And then just selfishly, the opportunity to be with this team. It's a fun group to be around, and just the opportunity to coach them for another month, I'm excited about.
Shane, kind of on the subject of guys practicing and when, is there any thought of having any mid-year enrollees come in time for bowl practices? That's something you guys have figured out yet, if at all?
Yeah, we haven't. Still a work in progress. Nothing that we're saying is set in stone or planned on right now. We're trying to figure out, get to signing day and who's signing, and then figuring it out from there.
Shane, you obviously were on the road recruiting a lot this week. What's been the message, and where do you feel like you are right now with this 2022 class?
Yeah, the road has been great. Been on a lot of trips and a lot of different places. Hard to keep track of, one day to the next with where all we've been, but it's been fantastic. And it's been pretty cool getting out on the road. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm isolated in this building during the season and don't talk to a whole lot of people other than my wife and kids and high school recruits and whatnot. So being able to get out and hear so many people that just stopped and congratulated us on the season that we had and the way that we played. Really cool just hearing from other college coaches that I bumped into, or high school coaches that talked about the effort we play with and the fight that our guys play with and the passion that our guys play with. That makes you proud to hear that as a coach. And then the message has just been that we're just getting started. A lot of these guys were here in attendance at that Auburn and Florida game, and they saw in the Clemson game, and they saw the atmosphere and they saw the environment, or they watched it on TV. And being able to tell those guys that we're just getting started. It's just the beginning, and we're building this thing. And year one was a great year one for us from a foundation standpoint. It's a great opportunity to come in and help us elevate this program, because we're not far away, in my opinion. So that's been the message. I was at the state championship games here in Columbia this past weekend as well, and just hearing from a lot of people at those as well, other high school coaches or fans that stopped me in the stands. It was nice, and we certainly appreciate the great comments from fans, high school coaches, high school recruits, and it's been a fun week on the road, and and looking forward to getting back out. I leave out of here early. I was, like I said, gone today, and then leave out of here early tomorrow morning, and full speed ahead.
Hey, Shane, with this being the first bowl game for most of the guys on this roster, is there anything different you have to do to prepare them for all the extra practices, or maybe just the mentality of playing in an extra game, or how do you go about that as you get ready for bowl prep?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it'll be my first bowl game as a head coach and a lot of that stuff. So, I mean, this past week when I've had downtime on airplanes and things like that, being able to just kind of jot down thoughts and jot down preliminary schedules. And, you want to make it rewarding for these guys, but there's also work to be done because you're trying to win a football game. So balancing, the reward of it versus the you don't want it to be like a complete grind like preseason camp all over again necessarily either. But we'll talk to our players about the mentality of it as we get into it. It's a long time to get ready for one game, so you certainly have to balance that and make sure there's a fine line there. But we'll get them through exams, and then we'll reconvene next week and start practice and be able to get more into that, just talking about it. But like anything, it's keep the main thing and understand why we're going to Charlotte. And we want them to have fun and enjoy themselves, but also we got to do everything in our power to make sure that we're ready to play our very best on December 30th against a really good team that I've had a chance to watch on television a few times this year.
We all need to have a few practices before you have a feel about the quarterback plans for the game, or do you feel like that's kind of
I'll be honest. I wish I'm not lying. That's nothing that we've even talked about since the Clemson game, as far as what we're doing, who the quarterback's going to be, and all that stuff. Obviously, Jason is disappointed with the way that he played, and it didn't really go well for anybody, that night. So we'll get out there and we'll compete, and it's nothing. Literally, I mean, we had the game, we had a team meeting on that Sunday, and then hit the road recruiting. So this afternoon at 4:00 when we had a staff meeting was the first time that we've all been together since last Sunday morning when we met as a staff. So we'll hash all that out and kind of figure out where everybody is at all positions as we get in the bowl prep.
All right, there you go with Shane Beamer from last night and talking after the Gamecocks got their bowl assignment in Charlotte against North Carolina. Of course, we'll be covering that closely, as well as the Clemson bowl game and the Coastal Carolina bowl game with Berge. After the break, we'll hear from Dabo Swinney, his thoughts about heading down to Florida to play Iowa State and not playing in a playoff game. That's coming up after the break.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for all adults 18 and older. Increase your protection against COVID-19 by getting your booster shot today. Learn more at scdhec.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make your plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation. Past winners include Stephen Gilmore, Marcus Lattimore, Jadeveon Clowney, and Luke Doty.
It's definitely an honor, to be recognized as one of the best players in South Carolina. These guys are definitely deserving of the award as well. So it really is just an honor, to be named Mr. Football.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
All right, the recruiting report is brought to you by Seawells. Of course, another week of the luncheon buffet is underway for you at Seawells, 11 to 2. Make your way over there and have yourself a great lunch. Pat, you know what's on the menu for the Tuesday lunch buffet at Seawells? I know it's good.
Oh, you know it'll be good. And I've got your back corn for tomorrow, Tuesday, December the 7th. We have carved black oak ham, southern fried chicken, and fried steak bites, which are outstanding. If you like country fried steak, just imagine that, but in chicken nugget size. Dip that in a little gravy. Outstanding.
I got to take Big Ed to the luncheon buffet at Seawells. I don't know if they have enough to fill him up. I mean, that's like filling up a 60-gallon, tanker with food. And, of course, the best in the catering business is Seawells. For over 70 years, the Seawells family and staff have been handling and planning all your catering needs. They'll come to your location or host at their facility on Rosewood Drive. 803-771-7385 is the number. So this is the final week of the live recruiting period for football coaches. USC Shane Beamer scheduled to be in the home with Dutch Fork receiver Antonio Williams on Saturday. However, Williams, who put on quite a show in the 5A state championship game, was announced this afternoon by the Touchstone Energy Bowl as withdrawing from the Touchstone Energy Bowl, meaning he will not be in Myrtle Beach this week, which kind of opens up his week if coaches want to come in and see him. And so things could change there with that situation. Several South Carolina coaches were in hand to watch him on Saturday. Beamer was not among them because he's saving his in-person contact with him. And Lou Bezjak of the state have reported on Saturday that Beamer had planned to make his in-home visit with Williams on Saturday. That now might all change with his week being open. He withdrew, citing an injury he suffered late in the game on Saturday. And, of course, there's the possibility he could take an official visit to Clemson this coming weekend. That is now open for him as well. Beamer met with defensive tackle DeAndre Martin of Durham this morning. Martin announced a decommitment from Virginia Tech yesterday afternoon. He was at USC officially for the Auburn weekend. He plans to announce and sign on December 15th. Receiver Caleb Webb of Powder Springs, Georgia, who has a USC offer, decommitted from East Carolina. Don't know how much USC is pursuing him right now. Linebacker Morvin Joseph, the Tennessee transfer, said last night he continues to hear from USC and hopes to hear more this week from them. He's kind of waiting to see what USC does with him before moving forward with any other opportunities. He mentioned Michigan, FAU, Florida State, and Georgia. And the place kicker Upton Bellafant, who has a PWO offer from USC, was offered by Indiana. Also, we have 2023 receiver Devin Hyatt out of Irmo and at IMG Academy was offered by Penn State. Clemson lost a commitment. Safety Keon Sabb decommitted from the Tigers today. Hartsville native running back Tion Evans transferring from Tennessee to Louisville. Tight end Peyton Strickland, who has a PWO offer from USC, committed to New Hampshire. USC target wide receiver Camden Brown of Fort Lauderdale named his top 5 of USC, Pitt, Florida State, Auburn, and Georgia. He was at Auburn for an official visit last weekend. He plans to announce on the 15th. And Chapman wide receiver DJ Black was offered by Catawba. And there you go with recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. And here is Dabo Sweeney from Las Vegas last night as he met with the media via Zoom to talk about the bowl trip to Orlando and the matchup with Iowa State.
you talked about your relationship with Matt. What, you said he kind of reached out to you and you kind of got a chance to kind of see your program and work. What stood out to you about the job that Matt has done, and what kind of makes him kind of one of those young elite coaches who's out there right now?
Yeah, well, the first time I met him, we were actually crossing paths at an airport. I don't know if he remembers that, but I do. And, just was immediately kind of, struck with his authenticity, who he is. And I've admired what he's done, at a place where it's not easy to go do what he's done. He's built an incredible culture there. So, we just kind of swapped numbers and then again, they came out to Clemson and, and really from that time on, we just, from time to time have talked and swapped text messages and things like that. So just an incredibly bright coach, a guy that I think really loves the player and is very serious about certainly winning, but winning in a way that really, builds great men through the process.
Well, you haven't had to deal with the potentiality of opt-outs over the last 6 years, having been in the playoffs, but obviously that's something prevalent and something on the minds of the players with these lower tier bowls. Is that something that you anticipate having to discuss with some of your players?
And well, first of all, this is a great bowl. This is not a lower tier bowl. I think this is a great bowl, and it's a great opportunity and a great experience for us as coaches and our staff and a group of great student athletes. So, I look at it as a real honor to be a part of it. So, we're excited about that. But as far as, all that other stuff, man, I hope everybody's there, but whoever we got, we're going to get ready and we'll be excited to go play.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit on your relationship with Matt Campbell and what it was like when he came to visit Clemson?
Yeah, just as I said earlier, the first time I met him was we were passing in the airport and kind of swapped numbers there and then just communicated a few times, and then I got him to come in to Clemson. He actually spoke at our clinic one year. And our defensive staff has gone and met with him as well, and then he and I just said, like I said, just talked and collaborated, swapped texts several times over the last few years. But just a guy I got a lot of respect for and admired what he's done. There at Iowa State, it's been incredible for sure.
Coach, I guess just how much opportunity? I don't guess you had much opportunity to see Iowa State play this season, but just your overall impression of them, not only this season, but what Coach Campbell has been able to build there over the last couple of years.
Yeah, just seen them here or there along the way. All I know is they're a tough out. Simple as that. I mean, they've been an incredibly consistent program. Can beat anybody, and so that they're incredibly well coached, and passionate about what they're doing. And you see that when you watch them play. So now that we know who we're playing, obviously throughout the course of this next week, we'll start diving in and taking a closer look exactly who they are personnel wise, et cetera. But all I know is you're going to play a team that's won a bunch of games in the last several years, big games, and will be very well prepared.
Okay, Dabo Sweeney, of course, will be covering everything with the Tigers and the Gamecocks moving forward. Of course, Kevin Kelly resigned as the football coach at Presbyterian over the weekend. That was kind of lost in everything. Texas Southern has beaten Florida in basketball tonight, 69-54. And Mercer is leading Coastal 35-30. The Citadel is leading North Carolina Central 42-34. And Morehead State leading Presbyterian 33-28. Thanks to the folks here at Florence Darlington Tech. We'll see you tomorrow.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
Press that button, home stew.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall.